Hello everyone, my name is Bruce Walton. I'm the Technical Director of Agilysys, and this is a quick introduction to the capabilities of the online collision data analysis tool, MAST Online. MAST has been around for a long time and enables you to do a lot of things. This is just a quick taster of some of the most important things to know. MAST lives at the Road Safety Analysis website, which is what you're looking at now. And this is where you go to sign in. If you don't have an account, you can click on find out more and contact our team, who will be happy to advise you on how you go about subscribing to MAST and getting a login. If you've already you know that your organization is already a MAST member organization, then your organization can have as many logins as you like. So both you and any colleagues who have a need to access detailed collision data are in a position to obtain a MAST login and log in freely. When you log in, this is what you will see. There are 6 masts. I'm going to talk about a couple of them later on. And there will also be a set of dashboards. Exactly what you'll see on the dashboards tab will depend on the local authority area that you're in. But the basic idea is that a dashboard provides you with information about a specific road user group at a high level to give you an easy to use introduction of the main issues for that road user group. The block we're looking at there at the moment is child casualties. If I go further down, you see we have motorcyclists, we have young drivers, we have older drivers, and we have pedal cyclists, and we have pedestrians. I'm just going to click into one of these by way of an example to give you an idea of the information that's available. I'm going to click on Edinburgh pedestrian casualties. You will have a set of dashboards which are specific to your area and that will give you local information. Dashboards give you both information about collisions that occurred on the road network of the area, which is what the purple blocks on the right are telling you, but it also, and this is MAST's unique point, it gives you information about people who are residents of the area. So the information in pink on the left there is about people who live in Edinburgh who have become pedestrian casualties, regardless of whether the collision in which they were involved occurred within the boundaries of Edinburgh or not. So you can look at road safety information in 2 ways: look at it from the point of view of person or look at it from the point of view of place. Both are important. Other information that's available in the dashboard gives you a sense of how Edinburgh compares to other parts of Scotland in this case. If you're in England, then it will be comparing you to other parts of Britain rather than other parts of Scotland. The Edinburgh Resident Pedestrian Casualty Index is a 100-based index telling us that Edinburgh residents are 19% more likely than the national norm to be pedestrian casualties. So that gives you some sense of the level of risk that the population is exposed to. This information is provided in more detail as a trend chart, as a comparative rate compared to the country as a whole. We map out the residency of where people who are most likely to become pedestrian casualties live within the city. And we also provide analysis of pedestrian casualties in Edinburgh as opposed to pedestrian casualties from Edinburgh. Remember, purple is place, pink is people. And that's the idea of the dashboards. They give you an overview of where your area sits, how it compares to other areas, both in terms of the experience of the residents and in terms of the experience of the network. Collisions are represented as locations on a heat map, which is often a very useful piece of information. And we also provide commonly required breakdowns, such as the time of day when Edinburgh pedestrian casualties occur, what the pedestrian was doing at the time the casualty occurred, what the age profile of those casualties are, both in absolute terms and relative to the national picture. So that's how dashboards give you a quick and easy, accessible overview. But dashboards aren't the only thing that MAST has. If I close that tab to go back to the MAST portal where we started out, MAST also provides you with these masts, the thing that you saw when we first arrived, when you first land, when you first log in. These MAST instances work a bit like a pivot table in Excel, except on a more sophisticated level. They give you access to the complete Stats 19 casualty database and also have augmented that basic Stats 19 data with all kinds of other information. So we've got information about geographies drawn from the ONS, we have information about deprivation, we have information about socio-demographic classifications, we have information about rurality, and many other things that helps you to get a better view. Using one of these masts is a bit like using a pivot table. So I'm just going to have a quick example. I'm going to click on MAST data mods, which gives you not only the complete official Stats 19 database as published in the most recent instance of reported road casualties Great Britain, but it also gives you a breakdown of those casualties by adjusted severity. And of course, in these days of injury-based reporting, adjusted severity is a very important ball to keep your eye on because it allows you to look at long-term KSI trends in a way that is realistic, allowing for the fact that different police forces have migrated to using injury-based reporting at different times, and that normally gives a different number of serious casualties to the previous reporting method. So this is an example of MAST data mods. I can look at an example of one of the template reports that are built into MAST data mods. Here's an example. This one looks at a time series of collisions that takes into account both the raw severity as it was reported and also severity as it has been statistically adjusted. This statistical adjustment has been set up and approved by the Office of National Statistics, and it works at individual collision and casualty level. So it allows you to get an accurate idea over time of what's really going on. So here we're looking at fatal and serious collisions over time as they have been reported, and the line above it shows you fatal and serious collisions over time as it's been statistically adjusted. You can see that those two things are gradually getting closer together over time as more and more forces gradually adopt injury-based reporting, which obviates the need for future statistical adjustments. But the great thing about MAST is, like I said, it's like a pivot table, and that means that you can add or remove any in sets of information, they're called dimensions in MAST, in any combination in order to customize the query to exactly what you want. This bit of MAST that I'm pointing at down at the bottom here underneath the chart, we've got 3 tabs, rows, columns and filters. You can see that they've each got different things on them, and they're the equivalent of the area on the right of the Excel window when you're using a pivot table. They allows you to control how your information is filtered and which bits of information are and are not shown in your report. So for instance, at the moment, this report is showing all collisions. If I only wanted to look at collisions involving a pedestrian casualty, I can simply apply a filter, apply the yes filter there, and that is now only collisions that involved a pedestrian casualty. If I want to show that in a particular area of the country, I can filter for location. So if I wanted, for example, to look only at the East Midlands region, I could do that and filter on that. I can also add additional pieces of information. At the moment, that's showing all fatal and serious collisions as a single block in there. But if I wanted to split that up, I could do so. And you can see that when I click on the Add Dimension button, there's an enormous range of different things that I could put in. For example, if I wanted to divide up those collisions by those occurring in urban areas compared to those occurring in rural areas, I could simply select crash location urban rural And there you go. My chart is immediately split between urban and rural, and I have a corresponding grid showing me the numbers. Information is freely and easily downloadable from MAST. So if I wanted to take that chart and use it elsewhere, I could click on download chart image and I would download a PNG file that I could use. If I click on download Excel, then my grid with all of those numbers in it, with those reported and adjusted fatal and serious collision numbers that you can see there. The reported ones are the integers, the adjusted ones are the ones with decimal places, because obviously being a statistical adjustment, it works like that. I can download that information into Excel and I can then reuse it in any way I want. At the moment, this is split up by year, but it doesn't have to be split up by year. I could split it up by something different. Let's say, for example, that I was interested in splitting this information up with something from Stats 19. I could use separating collisions that were at a junction compared to collisions that are not at a junction. I can just remove crash date, put in the junction location junction detail field, which will be familiar to you if you use Stats 19 data frequently, like that. And I'm now seeing my data, as you can see, arranged in a different way by whether there was a junction, or if there was a junction, what type of junction there was. I can drill in and see further detail. For example, I can separate normal junctions into T-junctions and crossroads. So you have complete flexible control over what you do and do not want to include in the report, and what basis you want to report it on. You can freely download it, and as long as your organization is a MAST subscriber, then anyone in your organization can get an account that allows them to do the same. All of the MAST portals are updated as regularly as our data sources permit. MAST Online and MAST Data Mods always accord with reported road casualties Great Britain. MAST Scotland always accords with the most recently published instance of reported road casualties Scotland. And we use MAST Professional to give you full access to analysis using contributory factors, provided that you are a local authority or police user. So that's the information that MAST makes available to you. That gives you some idea of the level of flexibility and ease of use of the interface. And remember the dashboards and also the maps, which give you an immediate overview of what's going on in your area. For example, I could select this area and immediately see which parts of the area had the largest proportion of resident casualties relative to the population. The kind of thing that's very difficult for you to calculate, but is put at your fingertips with MAST. Right, that's a quick 10-minute overview of the facilities of MAST Online. I hope you found that useful, and if you'd like to know more, then please get in touch with us at Agilicis. You can always do that through the Road Safety Analysis website, which is the home of MAST, or at agilicis.co.uk, and we'll be happy to help you. Thanks for listening.